Well, hello, family. It's PT Touré Roberts here, back at you. Excited for this new series that we're going to get into today. And first and foremost, if this is your first time to the called, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I believe this is going to be one of your favorite places of inspiration, information, revelation, things that will ultimately allow you to be the called person that you are, to walk in it in fullness and to have a life of impact. And I'm just excited. So welcome. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can always be notified when new episodes come up, so that you can continue to be blessed by what I believe is a great movement specifically designed for people who are passionate about purpose, who believe that there's something greater than their life than what they're walking in, people like you. So welcome to the family. Today, I want to kick off a series of conversations, and one of the things that I am thoroughly convinced about is that you can't have a successful year without having a successful you. You can't manage greatness without first managing yourself. So I want to move into a series which will span, I believe, about 3 weeks, and I want to talk about self-management, the self-management series, and I believe it's going to be awesome. You're going to get better, and as you get better, all ships rise when the ocean rises, and you are the ocean, and as you rise, I believe that everything that's connected to you is going to rise. Your business, your ministry, whatever it is that you're setting your hand to is going to rise as you get better. So, speaking of getting better, let's dive right into it. Today, I want to talk about goal management. The first installment of this self-management series is goal management. Now, we hear a lot about goals, and it's wonderful, but sometimes goals can be very difficult. In fact, some people don't set goals for the fear of failure. They'll have a vision all day long, and they'll even start moving toward the vision, but they don't take time to be strategic and to set goals, which are benchmarks for the vision. So let me give you a definition of a goal. A goal is what you set to both define and set the benchmark for your success. So your goal is how you define and set the benchmark for your success. Now, I want to emphasize the word your, because when it comes to success, I believe that you are the only one that can define it. This keeps you from competition. This keeps you from comparison. You have to decide what success looks like in your eyes, as it relates to what your calling is, as it relates to what your purpose is, as it relates to what you believe that you are designed to do. You are the one that sets the benchmark for what success looks like. And your goal is how you do it, right? Your goal is a tool for two things: inspiration and affirmation. Two things are achieved when you have a goal. First of all, your goal is your place of inspiration. Why? Because it gives you a target. It gives you something to look at. It gives you something to reach for. It gives you a marker that lets you know that you are on the right track to realizing your vision, right? And so it is inspiration. I write my goal down. Now that's what I'm reaching for. If my goal is to lose weight, right, that's what I'm motivated by when I go into the gym. If my goal is to get a six-pack, Lord Jesus, PT, Lord knows he needs one of those. If that's my goal, I'm inspired, right? I've got a picture of it somewhere. I got a picture of somebody else's six-pack because it sure ain't mine. Not yet, but I'll get there. That's the whole purpose of having a goal. But it is your inspiration. That's what you use to become your target, and it gives you something to reach for. So it is your inspiration, but it is also for the purpose of affirmation. And here's why. Once you achieve a goal, once you attain a goal, there is an affirming satisfaction of accomplishment. Oh, hallelujah. I mean, you don't even have to get all the way to the end of the road, right? The end of the road is the fulfillment of your vision. The goal are the steps along the way. So not only does that goal inspire you by giving you a target, but it also is a place where you can be affirmed, because once you hit that, it lets you know, first of all, that you are the type of person that gets stuff done. You are the type of person that can set a goal and that goal be realized. And so it's the place of inspiration. It's a tool. All of us need tools. It's a tool of inspiration as well as a tool of affirmation. Are you tracking with me? So let's talk about goals. Let's get into it a little bit. I mentioned earlier that many people avoid setting goals because they have a fear of failure. They're like, well, as long as I don't set a goal, how can I fail? Because I never set a goal. I just talked about what I wanted to do. And I got very vague and I got a bit nebulous. And I didn't really get down to the details of what I'm going to do or the how of what I'm going to do. I just said, I'm going to do this thing. And so I hesitate, that individual hesitates to set up a goal because as long as they don't have a goal, they're successful. You know what I mean? It's the moment that you set a goal that the fear of failure kicks in, or I should better say, the potential for failure sets in, and you have to overcome that. You have to have your desire to win, and your desire to achieve, and your desire to dare to believe that you were created and born to achieve something great, to do something great, to become something great. You have to let that passion and that desire be greater than your fear of failure. Are you tracking with me? It has to be greater. You know what? The fear of failure is going to be there. I mean, all of us wrestle with that, even great people, even successful people. I don't know of any successful person that doesn't have to overcome the fear of failure. But in order to get where you're trying to go, we talked about vision in the last series. You're going to have to set goals. You're going to have to overcome the fear of failure. And if you're taking notes, this is a good thing to take notes on as it relates to goals. Don't be afraid to start small. You're like, wait a minute. Didn't you just say recently, if your vision doesn't scare you, you know what I mean? It's not it. Yeah, I completely believe in all of that. But as it relates to goals, goal is different from a vision, right? Your goal are the steps, the markers that get you to the ultimate vision. Don't be afraid to start small, particularly if you've never set a goal before. Set something that is attainable, that's not out of reach. Maybe that's why some have a fear of setting goals. You were so optimistic that you set this goal, and this goal was massive. It was huge. You know, when you were on the mountaintop of inspiration, that's when you set your goal, not realizing that life is not lived out on the mountain. It's lived out sometimes on the mountain, but oftentimes in the valley and sometimes in even place. And so sometimes maybe you set your goal in the past and you were on a mountaintop moment. You know, you came out of a Tony Robbins seminar or called seminar, or you came out of church or wherever you were to get your inspiration. You came out of that and there was a mountaintop moment and you set that goal while you were there. And then real life kicked in and some of that fire fizzled and you realized that it was out of reach. No, when you set a goal, it should be attainable. You should see yourself achieving that. It shouldn't be out of reach. Now, I will say that it should be a reach. Hey, it should be a reach. In other words, it shouldn't be out of your reach, but you should have to reach to attain it. It should be a reach, just not out of reach. Are you tracking with me? Are you hearing what I'm saying? We're talking about setting goals, right? And we're going to do this. I'm excited because some of you are going to get out of this podcast and you're going to begin to set some goals. And we're going to talk about that even further. Here's the awesome thing. Here's an awesome instruction as it relates to goal. And this has to do with evaluation. Evaluate the size of the goal in real time. What I mean by that, I mean, don't wait to the end of 2024 as you're getting ready to step into 2025 to evaluate how you did with your goal. No. You have to evaluate the size of your goal in real time, right? If it's too easy, right? If you set a goal or you set a series of goals and they're too easy, be honest. Be honest with yourself. Don't cheat your potential. If it's too easy, be honest and add weight. I'm tell you something. I have a trainer in the gym. And I'll be honest with you, there's sometimes, where, what he's asking me to do, sometimes what he's asking me to do feels like beyond me, right? He's just kicking my tail, And then there are other times, I'll be honest with you, where I know that I can do, 5 more reps. I can do 20 more pounds. And sometimes I don't say nothing. And he has a way of looking at me, looking at my form, looking at my shape, and he'll ask me, and I won't lie to him, he'll ask me, how does that feel? And sometimes I have to be honest with him and I have to say, it feels pretty good. And he knows what that means. If I say it feels good, then guess what? I'm telling him that it's too easy. You have to be honest. Even as it relates to your goals, you have to be honest in the same way. If it is too easy, be honest with yourself and add some weight to your goal. Don't cheat your potential. Evaluate the size of your goal in real time. And then, in the other direction, if your goal seems to be slipping away from you, because sometimes, it's not too easy. Sometimes it feels like it's being pushed away from you. It feels further and further out of reach. And if it seems to be slipping away from you, here's what I need you to do. I need you to begin to ask questions. Questions like, first of all, if my goal is slipping away from me, if I'm not hitting my target consistently, I have to begin to ask the question, am I doing all that I know to do? Have I persevered? Sometimes it's a matter of going the extra mile. I say often, successful people are beginning where the average person is ending. In other words, successful people kick in when the average person taps out. So as you are evaluating a goal that is slipping away from you, before you downsize the goal or downgrade the goal, start asking yourself some hard questions, right? Am I doing all that I know to do? Have I persevered? Have I pressed through? Or when the first difficulty came or the first disappointment came, did it make me shrink? Did it make me push back? Have I persevered, right? Have I leveraged all of my resources, right? Have I done everything everything that's in my power, all of my resources? Have I leveraged those? Have I leveraged my relationships? Have I asked questions? Have I gone to mentors? Have I read books? Have I done the work, right? Sometimes it's a matter of, have I leveraged my equity? You would be surprised to know that when you are a good person and you manage relationships well, and you manage your job well, you're working for someone, and you're always on time, and you go over and beyond the call of duty, or you're working, in your church or in your organization, or you're doing something. Every time that you work hard, what you're doing is you're building equity with your boss. You're building equity with that influencer. You're building equity. So sometimes you have to ask the question, maybe I am persevering. Maybe I've leveraged all my resources, but have I leveraged all of my equity? Some of you right now have equity that you don't even know because you've been doing the right thing. You've been sowing faithfully. I feel this is for somebody. I just want to tell somebody right now, you're richer than you think. You've got more wealth than you think. Every time that you were sowing hard work, every time that you were sowing loyalty and consistency and faithfulness, you were building equity with someone who can help you. Hey, that was for free. And so if it is difficult, if it is slipping away, then I want you to begin to interrogate your process and ask the questions. Have I persevered? Have I leveraged all of my resources? Have I leveraged my relationships? Have I really tapped into the equity that I've amassed by doing good? And if you can honestly say that you have done that you've, you haven't slacked, but you've done all that you know to do, if you can honestly say that, then at that point, you might consider modifying slightly your goal in an effort to find your rhythm. Because goals and setting goals and achieving goals, all of that is a rhythm. It is a rhythm of success. It is a rhythm of realizing your vision, and you have to find your rhythm. It's like working out. Sometimes, there'll be too much weight for you to have the right form. And so, and a good trainer will say, let's take the weight off a little bit so that your form is better, so that your body is in the type of rhythm that will produce growth. And sometimes you have to, as you're evaluating your goals in real time, sometimes you might have to modify it slightly so that you can find your rhythm And what does that rhythm look like? That rhythm looks like you having attainable goals that are a reach and you being able to check off those boxes consistently. First of all, as I mentioned before, it's going to be great affirmation. You're going to feel good about it. You're going to feel good about yourself, and it's going to inspire you to want to do more. It's going to inspire you to believe in yourself that you can do more and that you can reach that goal. That's the rhythm that you want to have. Now, I believe that you have to break these goals down into small chunks. I think you ought to have an annual goal. I think you ought to have quarterly goals. I think you ought to have monthly goals. And I think that you ought to have weekly goals. Why? Why should you break it all the way down to the week? So that you can have that a boy, that a girl every single week. Right? I have this principle called the Big Three Principle. And I got this concept from a book I read called Free to Focus by a guy named Michael Hyatt. Great book to read. Michael Hyatt's a great guy. And I don't think he called it the Big Three Principle, but he talked about having three things that you have weekly, that you have monthly, and I think he may have even taken it out to annually, but breaking your big vision down to attainable goals in the three. So for me, I have, the big three things that I want to accomplish in the year, and I'll break that down to quarterly and monthly and literally weekly. And the awesome part about that is that I get to feel good by the end of the week. I wrote my big three down and I checked those off, and it also keeps me focused, right? Those big three things are the things that I must get done this week. And that helps me to qualify all the other things that are going to come your way, right? You will never be short of opportunities to be distracted. But if you have defined your big three for the week, for the month, for the quarter, for the year, chances are you are going to realize the big vision because you've checked off your goals. Now, you say, well, PT, are you talking about goals for the week or are you talking about tasks? Because I think there's a difference between a task and a goal. I disagree. I think a task is a goal, right? It's just a micro goal, right? And so even as it relates to the big three for the week, for me, I have to break that big three down into the tasks that are going to allow me to accomplish the big three. So listen, it takes work to be you. Can I just stop right now and just be 100% honest with you? It is hard to be the you that you want to be. It's something that you have to be very intentional about. It's something that you have to be very methodical about. And you have to make a decision that you're going to be the type of person that accomplishes the things that you are called to accomplish. Are you tracking with me? And so one of the other reasons why I like the big three and breaking these things down to goals and tasks, which again are micro goals, is that it allows you to keep records. It allows you to keep records of your success so that after each cycle, after each week, in real time, after each week, after each month, after each quarter, after each year, you can evaluate and ultimately learn. You can evaluate how you've done, not to beat up on yourself, but to learn, to what do I need to change? Did I achieve my goals? Did I not? If I didn't, why not? Was I too distracted? Is there something that I need to take off of my plate? Is there something that's taking up my time that's not worth the time that I'm investing in it, right? It gives you the opportunity in real time to check on yourself, to see how you're doing. I believe that goal management is going to be fundamental. And I'm excited. I'm excited about you getting your vision. I pray after the last couple of messages or the last couple of podcasts, you're clear on your vision. But now we got to take it a step further. And now we're going to break that vision down to goals, to bite-sized goals that all will lead up to that. I don't think that a big vision, and certainly not a dream, just happens. I believe you've got to break it down to the year, to the quarter, to the month. These little things, these micro goals, these tasks, and be engaged. Don't let time go by and you realize that you missed goal 1, 2, 3, and now you're in the second quarter and you've missed. No, be every single week. How am I doing? Self-mastery necessitates self-evaluation. I can't master myself if I'm not evaluating myself in real time. I'm not talking about second guessing myself. I'm saying have defined goals and defined tasks and have them in a cadence that will allow me to evaluate them regularly and jump in there and make changes if necessary so that if I get off track, I can get back on track. And that's how you realize your vision. So my friend, it's goal setting time. You got your vision. Now it's time to do the work. I'm going to say it again. Being you is hard. Being called is not for the faint of heart, but you can do it. I don't believe that God calls you beyond your ability or beyond your potential. I believe that God calls us according to it. I believe that a vision is not only designed to have you to realize something great, but to become something great along the way. The opportunity to manage yourself, to have what I like to call inner dominion. Mastery is knowing what it takes to be great and then doing it consistently. Let me know how this episode has blessed you. Let me know what your goals are. Accountability is everything. If you don't want to let me know, and I'd love to know, you can go to calledleaders.com and I'll read every single inquiry that comes in. And I'll be praying for you because I believe you can do it. Get with a circle of friends, people that you love and trust that can hold you accountable. We're going to do this thing. That vision is not some pie in the sky thing. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to get it done. I believe that the journey to it is going to be self-mastery. And you can't have self-mastery without self-management. And goal management is a big part of it. Next week, we're going to talk about identity management. You do not want to miss that. If you've enjoyed this podcast, do me a favor, rate it, review it. Don't forget to subscribe. Go to calledleaders.com. And you may or may not know, the Called Conference is coming back. May 17th and 18th in Los Angeles. Go to calledleaders.com and find out all about it. There's an early bird registration now. The early bird not only gets the word, but saves some coins. So get in on it. I keep it intimate. It will sell out, and I want you there. God bless you going into this week. Get those goals laid out. And remember, my friend, you are not random. You are called. Love you. Catch you next week.